Hello dear friends, welcome to this program, Our Moments with God, Our Moments with the Word of God, Our Moments with the love, mercy and compassion of God, Our Moments with the Holy Ones of God, Our Moments also with the writers of the Word of God, the Evangelist who left with us the words of Jesus and a little bit of description of life of Jesus. There were 4 evangelists, and today the church celebrates the feast of Saint Mark the Evangelist, who also wrote in the last chapter, "Go and proclaim the good news of the Jesus Christ to the whole world," the gospel, which I am trying to do every day for the last 2 years, and I hope you are sharing these videos with others so that besides you listening to the Word of God, you also let others have a chance to listen to the Word of God and profit from it. I invite you also to please share the videos with others and subscribe to the channel. I will soon be celebrating second anniversary of my daily broadcast without interruption at all. Today is 25th of April. I also remember my dear sister Flora, who passed away 5 years ago with corona. Why I remember her? Because she was one who was very keen on following the scriptures, in following the Gospels, not particularly that of Saint Mark, but in general. She was very keen on the Word of God as well as her regular prayer and worship, etc. And today, as I mentioned, we celebrate the feast of Saint Mark the Evangelist, who seems to have been a young man, and it is not sure whether he knew Jesus personally or not, but he was not one of the apostles like some other evangelists. He accompanied Peter and Paul in their missionary journeys, and he also accompanied Barnabas, who is supposed to have been his cousin. So he was actually traveling along with Paul and also Peter, but Paul and Barnabas. And then there is some controversy that might have taken place, we don't know exactly what, and he parted his ways with Saint Paul, but accompanied Barnabas, his cousin, to Cyprus then, because remember, these were all now virgin territory as far as the gospel was concerned. The gospel was only being preached, it was not yet written. So they were carrying on the Word of God by hearsay, what they had heard from others. And as I said, he went on long journeys of preaching the gospel through the rough and tumble of life, through forests and through rough roads like this, not tarred road, to various places. It is said that he also went to Egypt and established the church in Alexandria. So he is the first one to go to North Africa and bring that way the gospel to Africa. And if you notice, Saint Mark's Gospel, which is the second Gospel among the 4 Gospels, is the shortest Gospel. And the special characteristic of Saint Mark's Gospel is that it shows a kind of urgency. So it's a fast moving or fast paced Gospel, if you like, where again and again a kind of an urgency is expressed, that people must as quickly as possible accept the gospel, the good news that Jesus Christ has brought. And he of course emphasizes on the suffering servant that Jesus is, of course among other things about his miracles and things like that, but also tried to prove that Jesus truly was the Son of God. Of course, that time there was no concept of the church as such. That time they were only busy in proclaiming the Word of God. His mother, whose name was also Mary, seems to have been a rather rich woman with a big house in Jerusalem, and where Peter, after he was released from the prison, went and took refuge. And I suppose it is from that time through Peter that he must have got so influenced by the gospel, and Peter in his letter calls him my son Mark. So today's readings will be, of course, from the first letter of Saint Peter, where he mentions about Mark, my son, and of course the gospel is naturally about, from the Gospel of Saint Mark chapter 16, where he is talking about go and proclaim the good news to the whole world. So I am proclaiming this word of God from Austria, where I am based now for last 11 years, and I make use of all the opportunities that are given to me or are possible now through this modern medium or media, if you like. I use this medium of YouTube and Facebook to reach out to many people. I invite you to please share the good news of the gospel of this Mark, how they, without counting any cost, they went on preaching the word of God. It seems his gospel was written mainly from the hearsay of Peter. The stories that Peter told him about Jesus and his life, that is what it seems he jotted down and wrote down sometime between 60 and 70 AD and in Rome. But he was the first bishop of Alexandria, and because he was preaching the gospel there, he was taken by the non-believers and was tied behind a donkey and was for 2 days dragged on the streets of Alexandria till he died as a death of a martyr. So you will see that despite being so close to Jesus, so close to the preaching of the word of God, he still had to suffer the death of a martyr, which means basically that if you are so closely in love with God, it is not necessary that God will spare you from suffering. You may even have to give up your life as a martyr. And my dear friends, if you like, you may please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.